Hi everyone, hope you're well. My name's Dr. Matthew Hale, and in this video, I'm going to give you a tour of some of the weird stuff that I have in my office. Weird shit in my office. Weird stuff. I'm located in the Marks Building at Austin Peay State University. Normally you could walk up this terrifying stairwell that 100% looks like you'd be murdered in there, but as a result of COVID, you have to go into, pointing's hard, that door. Without further ado, let's go in. Creepy. All right, so here we are outside of my office. Look at all these memes to make me feel relatable. It's a very useful tactic to make students feel like you're a normal human, when in fact you aren't. As you can see, my office hours are virtual this semester. My girlfriend got me this, thank you, Victoria. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 toys and no others at my door, including cowboys who are violently shooting each other in a domestic assault. Several dinosaurs, and an Edward Snowden figure. It's the office door, and I'm just gonna go in and give you a 360 look before I start showing off some weird stuff in the office. So that's the office. First up is this comically large Dracula mug. Now, on the first day of class, students and I are usually slightly nervous. We may not know one another, and I like to come to class in a full 3-piece suit with my fancy briefcase and then drink tea out of this. I like the high-low cultural contrast because students aren't really sure if they should take me seriously or if I'm intimidating if they've never met me, which I'm not intimidating. And then this sort of throws things off. So this is my comically large Dracula mug. Next, we have this weird bird thing that I bought in Atlanta, Georgia. I lived in Atlanta for a few years. And Highland Row Antiques is one of my favorite places. The next thing I'm going to show you is also from there. And the story is a little bit similar. I found this there. I thought it was really interesting. I brought it home. I fell in love with it, and I immediately dropped it off of my bookshelf where I had placed it. I was trying to figure out where it looked the best on the bookshelf, and I dropped it, and I broke it in about 4 pieces, and then I reattached it. The people I studied in Atlanta were costume and prop makers and special effects artists, and so I had learned a few tricks on how to put things back together, and that's what I did with this. So I like to keep this in my bookshelf here at work and pretend that I'm interesting. This is one of my prized possessions. It is terrifying. It reminds me of like Garbage Pail Kids. It's very strange. It has a butt. It's just a head with ears and a face with 4 legs. So it's a quadruped human head butt thing. I remember seeing, I'm a big fan of face jugs. Some of my background was in folk art, and I love face jugs, and I went to Highland Row Antiques hoping to find a face jug, and I did, but I didn't like any of them there. And then I saw this thing, it terrified me, and it was a little expensive. I wasn't sure if I wanted it, and then the person who was working at the counter said, "I can get it out of the cabinet if you'd like to see it." And I said, "Sure, I guess." And she brought it out of the cabinet, and as she brought it and turned it around, I realized it had buttocks, and I thought, I can't not purchase this and put this in my office. And with the last object, I brought it home, and I immediately broke the leg. I'm not an extremely clumsy person, but in this instance, these 2 things, I did break both of them, sadly. Apparently, I believe this is from a well-known artist, I believe mid-century, but it's just very bizarre, and every time a student sees it, it makes them and me very weird. Next up is this weird handmade beaver named Francis. I didn't name it Francis. It's literally labeled Francis 2011. Here in town, some person had made this absolutely beautiful, unholy looking beaver sculpture. I was there with a friend looking around and saw this bizarre beaver. I believe one of his or her ears have been chipped off, but that's okay. I still love it nonetheless. But yeah, I don't know what to do with this. I feel like it's probably to hold soap or some sort of knickknack, but I just keep it on the bottom shelf of one of my bookshelves, and students constantly look at it and go, "Why is that?" And that's a good question to ask the universe. I grew up relatively poor, and one of my favorite things that I have a real attachment to, you'll see in a second when I start showing you dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, as you can see by the dinosaur tattoo on my right arm. I love really crappy toys because most of the toys we got growing up, other than Jurassic Park toys, which were fairly expensive, were from the Dollar General or Family Dollar or some sort of knockoff toy that we got at a flea market. And I think my ex got me this from China. It is a bootleg Boba Fett toy, and he, for some reason, turns into a ball. Not really, I think his head descends into his torso like a turtle. It's terrible, it's wonderful, it's Boba Fett. I was born in 1986, and I believe this product entered the market either mid-80s, late 80s, early 90s. It's called Germs. So when I was a child, my mom purchased one of these for me, probably at Family Dollar or the Dollar General or something of that sort. If you go on eBay and look up Germs, they're actually a little bit collectible and kind of expensive, particularly if they have the test tube. I don't have the test tube for this. I had saved this in my treasure bucket. It was a 1 gallon Purity ice cream bucket with a little handle, and I put knives and rocks that I thought were particularly cool, or stamps or coins and Legos and other sorts of things that I collected over the years. When I went back to visit my family years ago, I found this and brought it, and now it just lives in between 2 boxes in my office. It's a germ. It's pretty cool. I'm constantly finding weird handmade ceramic things that I think people take classes and they make stuff, and then they decided that they're not good at ceramics or pottery or what have you, and then they later donate these things to Goodwill. And I believe that's the case with this Stegosaurus that's made out of pottery. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really have eyes or a normal looking head, but I love it nonetheless. Another Highland Row purchase in Atlanta, Georgia. This Bill Shakespeare duck. I think these were produced, I don't know, in 2001 by Celebridux. Celebridux, that's a thing that was a product that was vetted, tested, pitched. Someone agreed to it and they put it on the market. And they sold these. I don't know where or to whom, but I found it. It was like $1 or $2 and I bought it. And it's made my life much better. Look at its face. Here's my trophy for Hollywood Best Mother. This is Petrie from Land Before Time. It is a puppet, and shoved into his anus is this weird thing that I got from a Mexican restaurant somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, which is to say most places other than Louisville or Lexington, or possibly even Frankfort, depending on if you want to classify that as nowhere or somewhere. But there's that thing, and here's Petrie, and Petrie's a puppet, which is articulatable, but not really. But I bought this from Pizza Hut, I think, back in the day when Pizza Hut was a really fancy meal for us. And it says it was produced in 1988. So there's Petrie, and there's the thing that lived in his anus. Here is I guess it's a decoupage cat just hanging on a tree. These were made in the 70s. Look at that resiny goopiness. Not much to it, just a piece of wood. I think this is plywood. It's not fancy, but it is adorable. And whenever a student comes into my office, I feel like this is a metaphor. I don't know what this is. I posted this on Reddit's What Is This Thing, and no one identified it, but it is a cat, as you can see, with a hole in it. I have no idea what this is for. There's me, there's my nose through the cat's body, but I have no idea what this is for. Its face is bizarre. It was like 19 cents or 20 cents or something like that. Could not have it. Best guess, I think this is something that you put like a napkin holder, napkin ring kind of thing. I don't really know, but I love it, and it just sits on one of those pictures. Good time. Now, there are far too many of these to show off in this video. It'll take a while, but I grew up wanting to be a paleontologist, and later I got a bachelor's degree in anthropology and took a liking to archaeology, but I was much more interested in cultural anthropology, which is what I majored in. But I have my entire life loved dinosaurs. Prior to the release of Jurassic Park in 1993, I was in love with dinosaurs when that movie came out. It was the only movie in my life that I can remember. My family watched movies very seldomly in theaters, but we watched that movie twice in cinemas, so I knew that was important. But I have this intersection of really toys and dinosaurs, because we oftentimes bought crappy toys from the Dollar Tree or whatever. They're fine toys, but they're often not super high quality. They're not articulated, and their sculpts are sort of strange. And I adore these things. And every time I go to a thrift store, you can find these everywhere. Kids buy dinosaurs and then don't play with them, and then you can go to Goodwill and just buy a bag of dinosaurs. And I can't think of a better investment in the 21st century in the middle of an economic meltdown than investing in plastic dinosaurs. You'll be glad you did. It's just a bird, taxidermied bird that I found at an estate auction that no one wanted. and I got it for like $14. Turns out these things are kind of expensive, but I accessorized it with this very tiny hat to make it Mr. Reginald, rather than just Reginald to you, sir. So I bought this. I do like having this dead thing in the office with me so that when I'm grading, I can look at it and think about it and know that the end is nigh and will get better than grading endlessly, right? That's supposed to be a positive message. All right, so that was the video. That's some of the weird stuff that I have in my office. It's not all of the weird stuff. Please like the video, comment, subscribe, share it if you have anyone that might be interested in this. And if you want to see a part 2 to this video, I made a theme song, so I might as well make a second part. And God knows I have a lot more weird stuff in my office and home. So thanks again for watching the video. Take care.